Hey everyone, my guest today is Jane, and she's the co founder of Userlist. And today, she'll be sharing the story on how they launched their product, how they scaled their team, and how they're using a mix of marketing channels to grow their user base. So, Jane, are you ready to take us to the top?
So excited to be here today. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for being on. So, first off, can you tell us a bit more about Userlist? How would you describe it?
Userlist is an email automation tool for SaaS companies tailored to their needs, and we've been out for a few years by now. Actually, since the fall of 2017, we've been working on this. And our special sauce is that we know SaaS founder needs very well, and we tailor the tool to them, which makes it way easier to use than big enterprise tools or like general purpose marketing tools.
Sounds great. So, what's the exact business model of Userlist? How are you making money?
It's very straightforward. It's a SaaS subscription model, and we start at a single plan, $99, and then we go up based on the number of users you send to us. And we've done a few iterations on that, but yeah, it's always been very straightforward. No hidden monetization schemes.
So, really, SaaS for SaaS businesses.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell us, how did you start a business? Take us back from idea to launch.
So Userlist is not the first SaaS rodeo for neither myself nor my co founder Benedict. We started in the fall of 2017. Before that, I had a tool called Tiny Reminder, which was later sold. And it was a pretty vague productivity tool. I learned a ton. It didn't go anywhere, but Benedict was my developer for hire. So we worked with each other a little bit, and he was great. He's a brilliant engineer. So when the tool was about to be sold, I immediately had this inspiration for the tool that I was personally lacking as a founder, which is some place where I can see all my users, see what they're doing inside my product, and send communications to them. That was the idea. So I recruited my co-founder Benedict, and also there was the third person on board when we started was Claire Salentrop, a brilliant marketer, employee number two at Calendly. She was with us for about a year, and then she focused on her other projects. But it was a very awesome founding team. So in a certain sense, it was like team first. Because we had all the talents covered in house. I'm a UI UX designer by trade. Benedict is an engineer, and Claire was handling marketing back then. And the concept of the product has not changed much, but we have iterated a little bit on how we describe the value we provide. And so far, after 4 years, we've landed on the concept of just being an email service provider, being on the same table as Drip, um, ConvertKit. We do look up to ConvertKit in a certain sense. They do a very similar thing, but they build for creative professionals. On the other hand, we build for SaaS founders and product people.
Wow, that's awesome. Always good to have a technical co founder when building a SaaS, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And are you guys bootstrapped or have you taken any VC or funding?
We are bootstrapped at heart, but we have taken a bit of cash last year from the Tiny Seed Fund by Rob Walling and Einar Volset. So that allowed us to focus on the product full time and invest a little bit of cash in the growth. But I don't think we will be moving forward with the VC route. We do really value the independent aspect of it, and what we'd like to have is a company that really matches our values and our idea of what ethical growth looks like and how we can serve our customers best, not investors, hopefully.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So, back to the launch. How did you get the first users to your product?
We did pre-orders. Then we did a lot of. We spent about a year in closed beta, so we onboarded those people who pre-ordered one by one. And an email tool really requires a lot of features to be built. So the very first few users were. Um, I'm so grateful that they were not not afraid to use the product, and also they were very supportive and very tolerant in terms of a lot of features that we didn't have back then. But they helped us to spend this period of time building those essential features and also polishing the product. Even though I should say, both myself and Benedict, we do have a very high level of quality in mind when it comes to software. So the product was never really bad. It was just not equipped with the whole range of features from day one. So we spent about a year in beta, and then we launched on Product Hunt in the summer of 2019, I believe. And we did a really nice launch. We got to number one of the day and we got all the publicity we wanted. So we were really happy with the way we got out of the beta.
And after the launch, when the first users were onboarding, when did you find out that the product was valid and you were really onto something?
We never had doubts whether it was like legitimate product idea or not. One of my friends, Alex Yomashev of Jitbit, he says that if I were, so he runs a help desk, and he says if I were to start another business, I would just start another help desk. And when we started Userlist, it was similar. We knew for a fact that onboarding emails and lifecycle messages and things like that, it's a must-have for SaaS founders. So we never had doubts that it's a necessary tool. And given the fact that we brought our industry knowledge into building it, we knew that this flavor of such tool will found our audience sooner or later. So we never had problems explaining the value to existing customers. It was always a matter of spreading the word, getting into conversations, getting into the mind of people, as opposed to explaining why it's useful. So we never had issues about that. The one of the adoption problems we have faced is that not everybody is in the mood of switching their essential business tool like immediately. And there is the goal with our marketing has always been to get into the minds of customers. So when they have the switching moment, when they're either tired of their existing tool, frustrated or something, or if they're starting a new product, or if they need to prepare for a major launch, we would be their choice in their head. So that has been the primary challenge.
Makes sense. So what's the most important acquisition channel to get new customers on board right now?
We would say it's a mix of good content, word of mouth, quite a bit of podcasting, because we run two shows. One at Userlist, it's called Better Than Perfect, and another one is called UI Breakfast, which I've been doing for like 6 or 7 years by now. So podcasting has always been a very friendly channel for us. We don't have anything that works like clockwork and can bring us repeatable leads at the moment, but the word of mouth has been great, and we've been enjoying the traction lately.
Interesting. I will definitely check out these podcasts. They sound great. So, as a co founder, what is your most valuable lesson or fail up to this point?
Great question. I think one of the most valuable lessons was that we underestimated the how ease of onboarding versus difficulty of onboarding really affects the business model. So we were not like brand new founders, and this is true for many of our friends. Like 4 people in my mastermind group, they're not first time founders, but none of them really anticipated that certain aspects of user onboarding can affect their growth. So in our case, we want founders to add to integrate our tool, which means a little bit of development work, and we couldn't anticipate that this little bit of development work would be a giant hurdle for many of our potential customers. And it's not like it's technically giant, it's more like it's giant in their head. So we've worked really hard to try and ease that integration process. We've added Segment and Rudderstack and other data integration platforms, and we're also looking to build a Stripe integration. And in a few months, Userlist will also allow marketing email inside it. So it will be like a full cycle marketing platform. And in this way, people will be just able to sign up, set up a single form, and like get going. And um, you would not think that onboarding is such an essential aspect of that product funnel. So we learned our way. It's a lot meta because we are an onboarding tool in our own. But when you start a new product, you really should think about that. We had anticipated that the churn will be low. That was one of the factors because like you don't really churn from your email platform unless you have a significant reason. But we never thought that the adoption will be challenging at times.
Wow, great share. So you were talking about the founding team of three before. How big is the team right now that is working on the product?
There are two of us at the moment at the key team, but and also we use contractors a lot. So for different projects, for different marketing projects, we have another team member, Dan, who is managing both podcasts, and he's super helpful. And we don't have anybody else on the payroll at the moment, but there are more hands working on the per project basis.
Love it. Well, great, Jane. Thanks for sharing the story behind Userlist. Now, let's wrap it up with a lightning round of 6 questions to inspire others. Before we dive into today's lightning round, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. Do you want to build your product the best way possible? Then you probably know that listening to your user feedback is crucial in building new features that will help them solve their problems more easily and thus making your product more valuable. Upvote provides you with feedback boards, a product roadmap, and a changelog to make the process of gathering and managing feedback a lot more efficient. You are getting a 10% discount on all of their plans with the code PIRATES. So go to upvote.com and start your 14-day free trial today. Now, let's go back to the interview. If you would start a SaaS today, what would be the first action to take?
I would probably do a bit of SEO research to see what's happening, if there is a specific keyword that matches the value proposition. And also, I would definitely start a mailing list to collect signups. That's like step zero for any new project.
Yeah, makes sense, I guess. What are some of your favorite software that you can't live without in running daily operations of Userlist?
I would say my calendar and also scheduling tools such as Calendly, and we're looking to switch to SavvyCal soon, hopefully. So calendar, scheduling tool, and email. We do Help Scout for our shared inbox, and I use Front for my personal email. And I'm not really enjoying the Gmail or anything that. Of that sort for the business. I'm looking for a more serene environment.
And what are some of your favorite apps on your phone?
I don't try to, spend as much time with my phone. I even have social media apps uninstalled, so I get to my Twitter like using the browser. But I really love audiobooks, and I would say that Audible, in spite of all the, Amazon ethical aspects, Audible is doing a great job at bringing, audiobooks into the world.
Okay, so no apps, but books. So, what is your favorite book that you would recommend to people that are starting in SaaS?
I would say there are different books. One that inspired me last year a ton was "Start with Why" by Simon Sinek, and it might be less practical, but it kind of gives you top level view of why you should be doing business. And there are also books written by founders like "Lost and Founder" by Rand Fishkin, or "The Messy Middle" by Scott Belskin. A few more that show you like what's happening behind the curtains of a relatively successful product, that no particular moment is perfect and you always have problems and next step goals and everything. So I really enjoyed books like that.
Great recommendation. What SaaS brand do you admire the most?
I thought a bit about that question, and I really dig Postmark and the reputation they've been able to build around themselves as a transactional email provider for SaaS, not just SaaS, and the way they focus on quality and managed to have a brand in such a space where it's almost a commodity. It's amazing how they made a commodity something into a personable brand.
Interesting one. And what about your favorite SaaS person to follow or read?
I don't have a single answer to that because there are so many great founders. We do hang around the microconf community a lot, and that mostly means that there is like a few dozens of people who we know very well, who we've seen many times at conferences and such, and we just try and learn from them on a day-to-day basis, following them on Twitter, etc., etc.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, great, Jane. Thanks for your time today and sharing your story with us. To conclude this interview, where can we learn more about you and the Userlist?
Well, it's userlist.com. You can find the podcast and everything else there. And if you head over to userlist.com/pirates, you will find a discount for the listener. So if you want to join or something, that's a good URL to go. And you can always follow us on Twitter. I'm personally at UI Breakfast, and Userlist is at Userlist.
Thanks for listening to this awesome episode of the SaaS Pirates podcast. You can find us on all of your favorite podcast apps as well as on YouTube, where you'll find these episodes recorded in video. Also, if you're into SaaS, come and join the SaaS Pirates Facebook group. We would love to have you on board. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a review. It'll help us reach more people like yourself. Without further ado, till next time, take care.